Hello, my name is Sebastian Prowse. I'm the lead product specialist for Vortexa in Europe. Today, I'm going to be giving you a short demonstration of the Vortexa freight product. The product is designed to appeal to freight analysts and also to charterers who are keen to understand the market dynamics in a real-time and future view context. The map screen that you're seeing here is the basic Vortexa screen. We track all tankers down to 5,000 deadweight, including the cargoes on them. And we do that by absorbing AIS data. We subscribe to all the major constellations, shore-based satellite systems, as well as vessel satellite systems. This allows for uniquely a comprehensive real-time view of what is going on the water, and also has a certain amount of redundancy should one of those systems fail. We then combine this satellite data with all of our hard data sources and our modeling capabilities to provide a comprehensive overview of energy on the water. Now, this map screen uniquely shows the ballast and laden vessels. In particular, I've got it filtered onto the MR Handymax fleet. And we can interrogate all of the Vortexa screens by applying various filters, and we can introduce others here. So just to give you an example of how you might do that, you can select, for example, those ballast MRs, and if you're interested, you can then select a particular region, such as pad 3, and we can now see those ballast MRs that are moving with a destination declared for the pad 3 region. Now you can convert this map screen into a tabular view and download all of the data that sits behind each one of these vessels. The next screen we have is a live screen. And what this screen is, as opposed to the map screens, looks at the live on the water movements of laden vessels. And here we've got a filter for the Aframax vessels that have originated in the US Gulf. And we can see a view of the status of those vessels here, and also the top destinations of those vessels. The next two screens I'm going to show you are the flow screens, which sit outside the freight product, but it's a useful segue to understand the data that sits behind the freight analytics. This screen is set up here to show products, diesel and gas oil, and those that are originating from Europe to the United States. You'll see here, this is a historical view. We also show future movements and those vessels that are currently in transit. What you see on this table is where we have hard data, we indicate with a green bar, and where we model the product. Where we don't have, we have hard data, we also then show a confidence level, which in this case, a high level, which would be in excess of 80% accuracy. Now, uniquely in the market, we've just introduced a grade level view. So not only can we see the category, but we can see all the way down into grade, and we also provide a prediction for the grade as well. You can see that this chart shows you the top origins for those cargoes. Now, another view of a way of using the flows screen is shown here, where we are tracking here the crude cargoes that originate in Russia, and in particular, we specified the oil that is on the water, so that's either in floating storage or condition in transit. And we can then see that vessel list. But what we can do is then see the split by vessel type that is carrying these kinds of cargoes, and we can get much more specific by interrogating the grades as well. So we can select Urals. We can see that we see an increasing trend on Urals products. We click here, and we will see that the types of vessels that have been transporting Urals products and the top destinations for those Urals grades. Now we'll move to the freight screens. The first one of which we'll show is fleet utilization. We have 4 panels on this screen, and what they show is enable you to see is the ton-mile and utilization activities. And you can then set up these screens to see and compare competing vessels for particular trades. You can see the top origins and destinations, and you can also see that on this chart here, as well as the in-transit speeds. And you can see here from this chart here where we are showing VLCCs and Suezmax and Aframax vessels carrying crude from West Africa to the UK cont, and the recent spike in VLCC activity in this market, taking a nibble out of the traditional Suezmax trades. And one of the questions we get asked in Vortex is, what does this all tell me? How does this translate into something that's sort of actionable? And a nice demonstration of how this activity translated into freight prices can be shown on our freight pricing screen. Now, this is a new screen, and it allows us to be able to track all of the Baltic routes, which we absorb on the top row here, and importantly and uniquely overlay that with our vessel availability. So you can see here, looking back in time, the increase in freight rates for this route was coupled with an increase in demand and the low availability of Suezmax vessels. Then we saw that obviously the VLCC started to take a little bit of a chew out of that, and we saw declining utilization rates for the Suezmax vessels, which translated into falling prices for the Suezmax route. Now, uniquely, what we are providing also is an outlook in terms of pricing, and we have soft, medium, or firm outlook. And in this particular case, where it is a medium rating, it means we are confident within a 70 to 80% accuracy. We've taken many different features, including the typical sort of shipping leading indicators, as well as market indicators to give you an outlook view. This is very much a data-driven approach, and you can use this in conjunction with your own market sentiment. We show the current list of available vessels on those routes out to the natural fixing window indicated by the Baltic, and you can see the volume indications here. We also show the corresponding list of available vessels, which you can then interrogate, and also a list of the fixtures that we receive from our broking panels. We have a separate fixture screen, which enables you to see all of those fixtures as well. The next screen we have is fleet distribution, and this is designed to enable you to look at the market dynamics of individual fleets and where they are moving, have moved from, and where they are moving to. So in this particular screen, we are looking at LR1s that are currently located in the east of Suez, carrying clean petroleum products. We can show you that currently there are 97 laden, 79 ballast, 35 of those ballasters are committed, i.e. fixed, and 45 where we don't have that information. And what this screen enables you to do is apply some of the filters. So for example, if we now wanted to see, okay, those LR1s that are potentially going to move out of the east to the west, we can simply put in a destination west of Suez, and we can see that of those laden vessels, 10 will be heading into the west region. And of course, you can flip these round to see the reverse and build a picture of the trend. You can also see the corresponding list of those vessels that are on the water in that laden state, and where they are heading to, and the counterparties involved. Vessel availability. This is a way of generating a completely transparent market view of what vessels may be potentially available and having a forward view. We track uniquely, we look at vessel historical availability, but we also take a view up to 34 days ahead based on the vessel's current itinerary, whether it is in laden condition or whether it is in ballast condition. We include calculations for port durations if the vessel is in a laden condition. So in this particular case, we got Houston as our intended load port. We're looking at handies. We've got our laycan all the way out to the 28th of June. Clean vessels we've excluded here, those that maybe have been carrying chemicals or biodiesels. And uniquely, we also now introduce a filter that allows you to be much more specific about which regions that you wish to include or exclude in terms of where the vessels may be heading to. So logically, we excluded those ballast vessels which are heading towards Europe already or are heading towards South America. Because the vessel classification can be quite broad, we've also narrowed down, it gives you the capability here to narrow down the deadweight capacity. Now we can see we've got 123 vessels. We show on the table here those which we have fixtures for. Now if you want to narrow down to according to a fixing window, you can select here the fixing window up to in groups of 5 days, 3 days or 1 day segments. So I'm going to select here the 5 day segment, 5 to 9 day segment, and that will then adjust the number of available vessels and compare that in terms of seasonality as well. The last screen we have is port congestion, which of course tackles the subject of demurrage and demurrage exposure. And in here you can select the ports that you wish to interrogate, to understand in terms of your potential waiting times. So in this case, selected the ARA ports and for handies MR and MR vessels. This gives us now the average waiting times. It's grouped by weekly over the last 3 months. We can see the average waiting time across all of these three. Yeah. Now we can drill down into just looking at ports here, average waiting times, or be much more specific in terms of terminals as well. We can see then the corresponding vessel list of those vessels that have waited over the last week and those that are currently still waiting. You can also split this by product group. So if you want to see clean and dirty petroleum split, you can do that this way. That brings us to the end of the demonstration of all of the freight screens. I hope it's whetted your appetite to discuss possibilities of working with Vortexa. We've got a really exciting new roadmap coming up, and we look forward to discussing this with you in due course.